everybody, welcome back to my channel. So after doing a blog post on dyslexia a couple of months ago, I occasionally get questions around what is dyslexia and what does it actually mean. So I thought I'd just address all those questions in one video about what it means to be dyslexic. So question number one, what is dyslexia? So dyslexia is something that you're born with, that you get genetically, and it's not something you can get rid of or catch. It's not contagious, it's not a disease, and it's a specific learning difficulty that affects you with words, like being able to say learning difficulty. It affects your words, spelling, reading, writing. Interestingly, it has nothing to do with intelligence and is completely independent and doesn't affect your intelligence whatsoever. So I was diagnosed dyslexic when I was about 11, but it was raised by my teachers at school from when I was about 5 or 6. Some of the things that it affects really came out of school. So I used to absolutely dread spelling tests. And if you're dyslexic, you'll know what I mean here. I used to do well in all the other tests, and then when spelling test day would come, I would become bottom of my class. And the teacher would be like, Sophie, you could do better. You know, why are you doing so badly at this one when you can do, you know, the maths test or the writing test or whatever? I used to hate spelling tests. Secondly, just spelling in general, I couldn't spell my own name until like after reception, because I didn't understand why Sophie had to be spelled S-O-P-H-I-E. I would spell it S-O-F-Y, S-O-P-H-Y, S-O-F-I-E, S-O-F-Y, and I was like, but it says Sophie, like no one is confused about what that says. It obviously reads Sophie, so why does it have to be spelled in a specific way? And I kind of still don't understand that, but I've sort of trained myself to spell my own name. So at school and at work, blackboards, flip charts, anything that involves writing in front of other people is literally terrifying. Whenever someone says, do you want to just write your thoughts up here, or do you want to scribe, do you want to take the pen? My heart just drops, because I know that I'm going to have to write words up there in front of everyone, I'm going to spell them wrong, and it's going to be really embarrassing. That takes me on to a bit older, learning to drive. So one of the things that dyslexia can cause is confusion between left and right and which way they are. So when the driving instructor says take the next left and you're like sure, and you take the right, that's not how to pass your driving test. So my driving test, the whole time I was constantly thinking like left, not left, left, which way's left, which way's right, rather than actually thinking about driving, which is probably a little bit dangerous, but there's not a lot I can do about it. So another thing with dyslexia is the capture boxes, the security boxes where it says, we want to check that you're not a robot. What does this word say? And then it's a word with all the letters jumbled up and hidden behind like arrows and lines and stuff. And it's like, well, I don't know what it says because you've hid it behind all those things. It's very confusing. And dyslexics tend to look at the outline shape of a word, which means you can often get words confused with other things. And the shape of the word's changed if it's got things all over it, so you just can't recognise the word. It's very difficult. I'm always refreshing it until I can see one that I can actually read. So hate capture. Reading aloud is another thing. I'll just be reading and I won't realise it, but loads of the words I'll just be replacing with other words which are kind of similar, that look the same, and that has some quite embarrassing mix-ups between words which I won't repeat on here, but pretty embarrassing things that I've said by mistake. So just to finish off, remembering names, remembering phone numbers, you know, short-term memory stuff, you immediately forget what you've just read or what someone's just told you. It's basically a bit of a minefield. So if you recognise any of those symptoms, then maybe you're dyslexic, or if you recognise them in your friends, then maybe they're dyslexic as well. So don't give us a hard time, we can't help it. And I think also dyslexia has some positive aspects to it as well. Einstein was dyslexic, Richard Branson's dyslexic, a lot of very successful people are dyslexic, and let me know if you'd like me to do a video about what I think the positives are about dyslexia and the things that it lets you do that perhaps you wouldn't be able to do if you weren't dyslexic. But I hope you enjoyed my video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Bye!